Yeah, Big Mike, the Fat Maxter in full effect, man. Max City Limits Radio Show, MaxCity.com, PowerStrategy.com. Should have never turned on YouTube, man. I should have never turned on YouTube because I know it's a never-ending process. I keep seeing silly shit just coming at me from all angles and all directions, man. First of all, let me say, man, a lot of you cats, y'all gotta know and you gotta understand, man. Me and Tony, one of our main mission statements, man, of Max City Limits Radio Show and PowerStrategy.com is to support the brothers, man. Support the brothers, man. You know what I mean? But you gotta be righteous. You know what I mean? We're not just gonna support a brother just for supporting them, but when we see a lot of people coming out the woodwork to crucify and lynch brothers, man, we're gonna go ahead and look at the facts of the situation in the case. And if we see that a brother's getting a raw deal, we gonna speak on it, man, because of course we are living in a world where pussy is running shit, and we ain't on it, man. We not on it. So we gonna do some manhood shit over here. So once again, right hot off the press, man, one of the latest victims of gynocentrism, as far as I'm concerned, will be Dr. Boyce Watkins. And I find it very interesting that all the people who was coming out against Cosby, that was lynching Cosby, crucifying Cosby, they're now getting their nigga moment. You know what I mean? What's that nigga we just looked at the other day? Teray? Yeah, Teray, you know, he was popping all that shit about R. Kelly. Now this nigga, Bones is falling out this nigga closet, you know what I mean? And Teray, he was also instrumental in talking about Cosby as well. And Dr. Boyce Watkins was also a very staunch advocate of kicking Dr. Cosby in his ass when he was going through his shit. And so now we got Boyce going through his shit. But, of course, me and Tony, we have been Dr. Boyce Watkins' biggest critics when he went against Cosby. And even though that happened and that left a bad taste in our mouth, and we see him going through this shit now, we are not going to do him like he did Cosby. We're going to look at the facts. We're going to look at everything that's going on in this case against Maria Lloyd against him as far as this lawsuit is concerned. And we're gonna try and give his brother a fair shake, man. So right about now we got anti-Afro Svengali going on her tirades, on her psychopathic ramblings. The more I'm listening to her, the more I'm probably thinking that she may have some sort of mental issues. You know what I mean? I mean, she just cranks out video after video after video about nothing. You know what I mean? So, what's the name of this latest one we got here, Tony?
Part 2. Boyce Watkins faces $10 million federal lawsuit from Maria Lloyd.
Okay, yeah. So, Jesus Christ, man. We're going to go ahead and look at this video. And through the video, guess what? We just had an acolyte of Svengali critique our video, talk about we shouldn't stop the video and interject in it, chopping and screwing it up because it leads to false what?
She said it's misleading.
It's misleading. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so basically that's what we're going to do. If anyone can't handle that, you know, once we hear something that sounds ridiculous, we're going to stop the video and we're going to speak on it, which is the way you should do it. Where do you get these people from, Tony? I don't know. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to Part 2. Boyce Watkins faces $10 million federal lawsuit from Maria Lloyd. And this is anti-Afro Svengali. Once again, going on an incoherent rant about nothing. Still waiting on her to show and prove where he's, you know, caught dead to rights to being a fraud and being a scammer. I still haven't seen that yet, okay? So, Tony, should we start? You got something to say before we start off? Or?
I think these people are extremely delusional. People that are doing this are extremely delusional. And I won't say delusional. I just think they're out their fucking minds.
Right.
Okay? I think that these people, they see Boyce as a reflection of whatever pain or personal experience that they've had in their lives. So they're going after him because, you know, he's sort of an easy target, so to speak. But anti-Afro Svengali has some very, very serious issues. Very, very serious issues. I mean, I think this woman's a borderline stalker.
Right.
I really do. I really do. And there's one thing that I think can maybe help clear some of this up, but I'll save that for later.
Okay.
But I mean, initially when we started this, and just to give this context, when we initially responded to her video, her charges that she made was that, one, Boyce didn't have a lawyer.
Right.
And then she said that he hadn't even filed an answer. So how is he going to get himself together? How is he going to prosecute a lawsuit when he's so unaware or unknowledgeable of the system, and he's trying to prosecute this case on his own and blah, 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 blah. And he's so-called bullying people by when he told Paris Milan she need to watch what she's saying because she could wind up getting sued. And, you know, how can you say this when you don't even have a lawyer and you haven't even filed an answer? And at that time, we stated that that video was perhaps misleading because, you know, she didn't even provide the full breadth of information to sustain her position.
Right.
She didn't look at the Register of Actions, which you can get if you get access to the federal e-filing system there in Illinois, which you usually have to be an attorney to get access to. But I think LexisNexis and maybe some other people can get access to it. I'm not exactly sure what are the ramifications for corporations, but it's still publicly accessible if you go there in appearance, or maybe someone may get a copy of it and download it on the internet. But whatever, our issue was that she was out of step. She was out of bounds to even make that comment without the Register of Actions, which is the docket, which tells you everything that goes on the case in order to back up her assumptions. Okay. And so come to find out, as we go through this video, which we've started viewing, the very allegations that she spoke in the initial video is invalidated with the very evidence that she's presenting in this video.
All right.
So either she made that video before she had all the facts, or she had the facts and purposely made a misleading video as part of a vendetta against Boyce Watkins and of course Dr. Umar. And maybe she's right where he's concerned. But either she lied unintentionally or she lied on purpose. Okay. Because the information that she discloses in this video invalidates her entire argument. She's talking about fraud. Now, in that initial argument, in the initial video, she listed all of his businesses, and she said that the one that was out of existence at that time, the one that had been dissolved, was, I think it was the Black Wealth Boot Camp. That was the only one. All the rest of them were active except for that one. And she said, see there, he's getting people to contribute to Black Wealth Boot Camp, which is not the case. That was not true. So now she's popped up with a different set of allegations, but every stitch of information that she puts on this screen invalidates her argument. So I think this woman has a serious mental problem, or she has some other ailments that need to be tended to very quickly. Because this, and the people that listen, I'm just going to tell you, if you listen to or follow this woman with any degree of seriousness, you are out of your fucking mind.
Wait a second, man. I follow her with the Umar shit. I fucks with her with the, she's pretty much, for the most part, dead on with the Umar shit. She kind of goes overboard with a lot of shit she does with Umar, but her assessment of Umar is right. Our
assessment of Umar was right.
You say what now?
Our assessment of Umar was right.
What's that got to do with her?
This woman's a fucking nut.
I'm just saying. I'm just letting the fellas know, everybody, I'm fair.
Oh, you know what I'm fair?
No, I'm just saying I'm fair because I dig her work with Umar. I don't dig her work with Boyce. I think she's far off base with this shit. So, with that being said, shall we start?
This woman's a fucking nutcase. Start the tape.
Let's see if I can get past this horrible music. Hold on.
Himself, trying to act like this is no big deal. For those of you who forgot what Boyce Watkins said about the lawsuit Maria Lloyd filed against him, which is 10 million. I want you to tell me if Boyce's comments make any sense.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Why is Paris suing?
Yes, they make sense. Just because someone asks for $10 million doesn't mean that they're going to get it. Okay? Mm-hmm. You can ask for anything in any monetary amount in a dollar complaint as long as it meets the jurisdictional amount for that particular court. In federal court, that amount is $75,000. Okay? So the fact that she's asking for $10 million, that means less than nothing. Mm-hmm. It means less than nothing. With that vague ass complaint, she didn't even explain why her damages were $10 million. But what her and her attorney could possibly be thinking is that maybe the state of Illinois may award punitive damages or treble damages. Now, if a jury awards punitive damages or treble damages, it could be $10 million. But until a judgment comes, it means nothing. And her case is a breach of contract case. So in order for Boyce Watkins to owe her $10 million, arguably he would have had to have made 10 times that much. Now, arguably, Boyce Watkins is successful at what he's doing. Arguably, he may or may not be. But I would wager he's not $10 million successful. Okay. That's something that they added for dramatic effect. You know, Boyce Watkins is being sued for $10 million. Dun, 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 dun. That don't mean shit. Okay. It's just words and numbers on a piece of paper, like he said, until you get a judgment, until such time as the court enters a judgment or an award order, or an order of award in your favor, it means nothing. And even then, it doesn't mean anything. And I'll explain why. Because if the opposing counsel feels that the damages are excessive, they can do what's called a motion for adjudicature. Excuse me, not a motion for adjudicature, excuse me. A motion for remiture, which means to reduce the damages amount to an amount that is more pragmatic in light of the facts and circumstances of the case, more reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances to the case. So the fact that this woman has put $10 million up here, that means less than nothing to people that understand the system. Do you get that, M.I. Moore? It means shit. It means nothing. You can list anything in a damn complaint. That doesn't mean that it's true, doesn't mean that you're liable, and it damn sure doesn't mean that you're entitled to anything until there's a judgment.
Yeah, let me let the fellas know. Hey, it's gonna be very little nigga shit in this video, man. You know, we basically taking this tad bit seriously, so if you get bored, I'm sorry, but man, we gotta basically get into the legalities of this shit, and maybe a little bit dry for you, but yet and still it needs to be done, man, because there's a lot of people out there just doing a sensationalism. So I got a homie over here that knows his way around the courts and the legal system. M.I. Moore, idiot. That's the extent of the nigga shit right there. Should I go?
Go ahead.
All right, well, you know what? Let me see here, because we can fast forward through this shit. Hold
on. Paris is not suing me. Paris has to be careful because she could end up in a lawsuit. There's a lot of things that she said.
Fast forward. Get to Miss Svengali.
Saying, because I meant to point out some very key points to debunk the mess that Boyce Watkins is saying. Now, the only reason why Boyce Watkins is talking like this, he's trying to prevent people from bailing on his scam companies.
For those who missed it, basically I fast forward through Dr. Boyce Watkins saying that Paris Milan needs to be careful talking crazy about him and his business, or she may end up in a lawsuit herself. Okay, so now Svengali is responding to what Boyce just said.
Because even though he's running scam companies, if you send money in, it's still money.
And wait.
Right? Although...
And for the record, that is her opinion, that he's running a scam company. Boyce Watkins has not been found liable for fraud. So again, that's her opinion that they're scam companies.
Okay.
And I'm not aware of very many laws. I know he has this one from Maria Lloyd, and I think maybe a couple of other people. but they're no rash in terms of 10s and 20, like it was with Cosby.
Right.
There wasn't this massive number of people that are filing lawsuits against Boyce, because truth be told, Boyce's image on TV is made his pockets, and I'm not pocket watching. I can tell the real from the illusion. They think that because he's on YouTube and because he's on television, they think he's worth more than what he is. Mm-hmm. And the real truth is that after Boyce Watkins' tussle, after his conflict with Fox News, even people that are on the so-called left don't even come around Boyce Watkins. Mm-hmm. You don't even see Michael Eric Dyson, and him and Michael Eric Dyson at one time, they were contemporaries. He don't even hang around him. So it's not like that Boyce Watkins has this mainstream appeal that draws a whole lot of money that makes him more valuable. He's basically an outcast.
Okay.
In terms of mainstream black society, he's an outcast because, again, he says shit that niggas really don't want to hear.
All right.
You see? So it's not like he has a massive amount of money. I think he has enough to be comfortable, but I think people are giving him, or giving his businesses and his platform more success or more shine than what they're actually worth, or what he actually has, because it's magnified by his light celebrity appearance or presentation.
Okay.
So
proceed.
He's taking the money and doing what he wants with it, but he still feels he can negotiate with monopoly money and not pay people for what they do. So let me start, number one, with the Courtney X. The reason why I brought this up again, Courtney X was a person, or is a person, that posted messages in that live stream, and I put a couple of the messages up there. So this was an actual person typing in the screen. I don't know who the heck Courtney X is, but think about it. If he's treating a person on the screen like this, how do you think he engages women, black women in person?
Oh my
in a
God.
very
Lady, it was an example. It was an example.
Oh my God. Yep, I probably should have played that part, man, where Boyce Watkins was using Courtney X in a example where he was, what did he say?
He said if
that's like me saying
that she came in here and hit me with a shoe and I peed on her, or I hit her with a shoe and I peed on her. Uh-huh. He said that people can make allegations and say anything, but that doesn't mean that it's true. And then that's when he went in that allegation. He said Courtney X can come in and say I hit her with a shoe and I demeaned her and I peed on her, and she can sue me. Right. That doesn't mean that it actually happened. That's what she's alleging. Mm-hmm. And guess what they call the paragraphs of a complaint? They call them allegations.
Right.
It's not fact, they're called allegations. You understand? So he was exactly right to say that. Now he may have got some of the terminology mixed up, but he's going in the right direction. So that tomato, that's an immaterial difference.
It's hilarious how she's using this to try and debase his character by basically stating that he's actually being vulgar towards this woman when he had no malice or ill intent towards her at all. He was just using her name in an example.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah, she's fucking crazy on this one. I'm like, really? You stretching the shit out of this? Proceed.
Disrespectful manner. And it's very ironic how Boyce Watkins is so focused on this R. Kelly stuff. We know why, because he wishes he was R. Kelly. He's constantly referencing this quote, peeing on people. Why do you need to keep saying this, Boyce Watkins? He has said it in at least 4 or 5 other videos that I have been made aware of. I have heard. So what is the deal? And this is before the recent R. Kelly stuff came up. He keeps mentioning this. So
let me give the players my personal psychoanalysis.
You're gonna have to do some nigga shit in order to get it off. You're gonna have to do some nigga shit.
No. Anti-Afro Svengali, man. She's a prude, man. This woman is very, very prudish, man. It's like she has a super duper fixation on sex herself. You know what I mean? It's like every time I'm hearing her talk about Umar And when she's talking about almost any other black man on YouTube or in the public eye, man, it always somehow ends up, you know, she swings it towards sex, man, and just how disgusting and despicable and vile and vulgar. It's like, wow, you know, she's, you know, once again, I find her guilty of projection, man. I find this woman guilty of projection. She is always talking about how disgusting and vile and just, you know, reprehensible sex is. I don't know. Am I off on this? What do you think?
I'm going to swing this in the direction of ARC's ball rubbing ass.
Okay.
I think this woman is a wholesome pretender.
Okay.
I think she's an erotic hypocrite.
Okay.
I think this woman is sexually repressed. I really believe that. I think this woman is sexually repressed. I think secretly, I think she may even want to be peed on. I think she may even want to be dominated. I think she may be. She may.
That's nigga shit right there.
I think she may want to be objectified. I really do. I think that somewhere in the darkest recesses of her psyche or in her imagination, that this woman actually desires some of this conduct that she repudiates.
So you saying shit, she might want to be one of the R. Kelly girls?
I think she want to be one of the R. Kelly girls. I think she may want to be in his mansion, ass naked with a pot in the corner, and being. I think that this woman wants to be dominated. I really do. I would like for ARC to listen to this and see what his assessment is, and I would wager he would almost agree. I think that this woman is sexually repressed, and this is a way of her low-key, under the cover, expressing her repressed sexual desires and longings. I think that's what this is.
It's vile and vulgar and reprehensible and disgusting.
And I'm sitting here getting wet just at the thought of it.
I think she's projected, man. You know, this my, you know, I'm just getting that vibe all of a sudden, man. It's just like, god damn, boy, she has a super duper fixation on people who she claims has a fixation on vile, disgusting, and reprehensible sexual behavior.
And what does this have to do with it being a fraud?
I have no idea. I don't know. Don't you just find that kind of strange? That
I do. I find it very strange.
You know, she's very fixated on the sexual element, but it has nothing to do with fraud.
I do. I think, again, using the language from Mode 1, I think she's an erotic hypocrite. I think she's a wholesome pretender.
Right.
I really do. I think she's a wholesome pretender and an erotic hypocrite, and I think this is how she's getting her jollies. I think she's getting her jollies off on this.
Let us proceed.
Yeah, proceed.
States, Courtney X can bend me over and I can sue them. Come on, this is overboard. This is like Umar Johnson. I need an excuse to talk about sex. He is very perverted and very disgusting, and he claims to be this Mr. Entrepreneur. Now, let's get to talking about suing Paris Milan.
Okay, stop.
How the hell is he going to sue Paris Milan?
Okay, now in this, as we're looking at her video, she's just flashed on the screen a picture of Boyce Watkins, and I guess this is Paris Milan, and Maria Lloyd. So initially, again, to take you back to where we came in and the reason for our reaction, Anti-Afro Svengali jumped up and down about Boyce Watkins not having an attorney. She jumped up and down about him not filing an answer. Why haven't you filed an answer? Why haven't you got an attorney? You're trying to, defend yourself. You're trying to represent yourself, and shows that you don't understand the law. But yet this thumbnail, this pic here shows that this woman had no idea what the fuck she was talking about when she made that video.
Okay.
Because here it is, it's right in the bottom portion of the thumbnail where it explains. Now, let's go back to the timeline. We made that video, what was that, the end of December or beginning of January, somewhere around there?
Man, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, at the time she made that video, she was screaming that Boyce Watkins didn't have an attorney. Well, this information that she put up, maybe she got into the electronic database MI More, and the information that she's putting here shows that she actually didn't know what she was talking about, and it actually shows that our critique of her video was correct. Because if you look at this, now she's highlighted some things that attempt to prove her point, but if you read this shit, it disproves her point.
All right.
Because she said that initially Boyce Watkins didn't have an attorney, but based upon the information that she's entered here, Boyce Watkins had an attorney as early as October 16, 2018. Okay. The suit was filed September 25th, I think it was, September the 25th, 2018. And he answered it within, 2-3 weeks.
All right.
Well, he had it, not answered. An attorney. He obtained an attorney. He got an attorney as early as at least the 16th of October. So he had counsel present at the time this action was pending, after the time he was served. So what subsequently happened here, and I'm reading from the entry that's on the docket, that you can research for yourself, M.I. Moore, since you know so goddamn much. This thing here, it said, this entry on the docket says a motion to withdraw is granted. The person who filed that motion was attorney Michael T. Sterling. He was Boyce Watkins' initial attorney to defend this action. Okay? And he said the motion to substitute is granted in part and denied in part. So what I'm guessing is they granted by allowing him to withdraw the case, but I think somebody in his firm substituted for him.
Right.
Okay. So it says the law firm as a generic whole cannot file an appearance to represent parties, but instead, each attorney who represents a party must file his or her own notice separately. So what we have here is a fucking clerical error. He had an attorney, but there was a clerical error. In other words, the law firm filed as an entity to represent him, to represent Mr. Watkins.
All right.
When they were supposed to file an appearance as an individual attorney from the law firm. So in other words, Max City Legal, if you're an attorney, let's say it's Max City Legal LLC, you can't file to defend Eric Lensher. Not Max City as an entity. However, Big Mike, Triple XL, as the individual attorney of Max City, can file to represent.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a clerical error. Now, the person who replaced him was Roderick Wimberly, and they allowed him to substitute as counsel. So this happened, if you look at this timeline, as early as October the 16th, okay? And it says that Mr. Wimberly shall file a notice of appearance as a separate document as outlined by the local rules. Any other attorney of the same firm should do the same. And based on that clerical error, the judge extended the time for Mr. Watkins to file an answer to the complaint.
Okay.
Okay? So he had a defendant all along. He had a lawyer. So I'm sorry. He had a lawyer all along. The judge granted him an extension to allow him the time to file an answer after the clerical error.
Right.
Okay? And they have a motion. They had a motion hearing that was set for the 8th. That was taken off the record. It was reset to the 22nd of this month at 11 o'clock. Okay? The 22nd of this month, that's what's known as a pre-trial status conference. Do you know what that is, M.I. Moore? A pre-trial status conference. A pre-trial status conference is set for the lawyers.
Okay.
The lawyers to get together to see where they are on the case, to see if they're close to resolving the case, to see what they're going to do to resolve the case, to see if there's been a settlement or so forth and so on. That's what a pre-trial status conference is. It lets the court know where the parties are as far as the case is concerned. Are they going to settle it? Are they going to file a motion to dismiss it, which is a motion for summary judgment, which I also stated in that podcast, Miss M.I. Moore.
So the previous video that we critiqued of Svengali, she said that he didn't have a lawyer, right?
Right.
And she also stated that he was basically ignoring and not
answering the complaint.
Which, from what we see here, is not true.
According to stuff that she submitted.
Right.
So that lets you know this woman didn't take any time to do any investigation. This woman didn't take any time to do any research, and she herself doesn't understand the legal system. So what that tells me is that this woman is fixated
crazy
with Boyce Watkins. She is fixated with Umar Johnson. This woman is fucking nuts.
I'm torn on this. I'm so torn. I so love her work with Umar. Oh, I love it. Shall we proceed?
Let's go, brother. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Blonde, when his funky behind can't even get a response in to Maria's lawsuit. Boyce Watkins, you better worry about responding to the lawsuit that Maria Lloyd put on you in September.
There it is. In her own damn thumbnail.
In her
own damn thumbnail, that not only does he have a lawyer, but the court extended him the time to respond. And the fact that it is January and no default judgment has been entered against him. Now, to people that work in it, that tells you something. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That to anyone that is vaguely familiar with this system, that tells you something. That tells you either he has responded, and in all fairness, we don't have a copy of that response here. But that tells you either he has responded or there's some type of negotiation or something going on behind the scenes that no one here is privy to. And they wouldn't be privy to it because that's between the two attorneys.
Right.
You understand? So, again, this woman is fucking bonkers. And this woman needs help.
And once again, I'm still trying to figure out where the fraud's coming in.
I still haven't seen any evidence of fraud.
You better respond. You better respond.
It sounds like she's saying that simply because Lloyd sued, that means that Lloyd is correct.
Right.
And again, just because you file a lawsuit, he was right about that. Just because you file a fucking lawsuit, that doesn't mean that that person is right. And it damn sure don't mean she gonna get, what, $2 million because she hadn't been with that man. She was only with that man, I think, what, 2012 or 2015, somewhere around. She was only with him for a few years. So unless her shares in the company equal up to $10 million, which I don't think they do, the only place she could be hanging her hat for a $10 million judgment is if it's awarded as punitive damages. Is that good enough for you, Miss Moore? Proceed.
Proceed.
Number, and we're 4 months later, and you haven't even responded. So when are you going to file a lawsuit against Paris Milan? Give me a break. These statements are just meant to try to shut people up and to ward people off from filing another lawsuit on Boyce Watkins. He is so full of it. Answer Maria Lloyd's lawsuit first. You're 4 months late. You got the judge to give you another extension, and you're up here talking about you're going to sue Paris Milan. You're not going to sue anybody.
He didn't say he was going to sue Paris Milan.
To...
He told her to watch herself, or she may wind up being sued. What are you listening to? The voices in your head?
And once again, I'm still trying to figure out what does that have to do with him
fraud.
being a fake and a fraud and a shyster. You know what that has anything to do with it? You lost too?
I'm lost.
Okay,
I'm completely lost.
All right, okay, let's go.
See, your so-called counter. You don't have no damn counterclaim against anybody. Boyce Watkins is a fraud that continued to target vulnerable black women until he came up against two who weren't going to take his garbage, Maria Lloyd and Mika Brown. Now, I haven't had a chance to research what's going on with Mika Brown's case because I was preparing. I have to testify Monday, and this is not a pleasant thing that I've been embroiled in trying to get ready for this testimony. But that is the second follow-up that I will be able to get into after Monday when this stuff is cleared off the decks. But he's up here talking about, I'm going to sue. This is so, I mean, it's so embarrassing. This is one thing our people really need. We need to have a traveling clinic to give our people the basic information about the legal system. And this is not
shockingly enough, Boyce Watkins has that.
Most black folks don't.
Boyce Watkins has, he actually has a school for people that want to learn about law. Allegedly, that's what he's advertised. That he has access to attorneys that give people a basic introduction to the law. You know, just basic points of legal first aid. So I think you would do well to go to that, but you probably don't want to be around Boyce Watkins because you don't want to be one of those impressionable young women under his control. Now, do you? That's not what you want, is it? No, that's exactly what you want.
Let's go.
Oh, no. enough of us don't know. We need basic information about the legal system. Otherwise, we wouldn't be saying things like Boyce Watkins, like you only go to court, you only go to trial if it's a criminal case. Oh my God.
He didn't say that.
Is he not even talking to us?
He didn't even say that.
Right.
He didn't even say that.
Well, now we know where M.I. Moore gets their talking points. Blaming people for some shit they didn't even say, man. Keep going.
Keep going.
Attorneys, and it's beyond a reasonable doubt for a civil case. No, fool. It's the preponderance of evidence, and you better be worried if you think it's beyond a reasonable doubt. There isn't a whole lot you need to prove in a civil case. And he's up here saying it doesn't mean anything. If you were sued for $10 million, you better be worried, people. Be worried if you have a $10 million lawsuit filed against you, and you're lying left and right about.
No, it doesn't mean anything to have a $10 million lawsuit. One, unless you're worth $10 million and you got it to lose. Because here's what people don't understand. I'm just gonna cut through the bullshit and tell you. A judgment is a piece of paper. That's all it is. You still have to collect on that judgment. Now, people have a multitude of ways to collect on that judgment. They could garnish your wages. They could garnish your tax returns. They could, in some instances, they could snatch your property and sell it to satisfy the judgment. But, you know, these days, it's corporations, let me put it this way. These white corporations have so many ways to, which is actually illegal for them to do. So many ways to fraudulently convey assets into another person's name that it's ridiculous. The best way to do it, the best way that I've seen to do anything, is to put it in a trust. You put it in a trust, you make it damn near judgment proof. Damn near. It's not impenetrable, but it's damn near judgment proof when you put it in a trust. So, one, Boyce Watkins, again, this is just a complaint. Two, Boyce Watkins know this woman ain't gonna get $10 million. Anybody with any common sense know this woman ain't gonna get $10 million unless it's granted as a punitive damage award against Mr. Watkins. Now, that's the only way, or treble damages or punitive damages. That's the only way that it will be granted $10 million. And even then, I don't think it's going to be that high. Because I remember you remember the old man from the R. Kelly suit when they came in there, the criminal trial at R. Kelly? And
nah.
The old man, the old juror that was in there. He said, I didn't believe a word she said. All of them, you know.
Oh, you're talking about on the Surviving R. Kelly shit.
Yeah, on Surviving R. Kelly.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, people have to actually, juries have to actually be able to identify with the plaintiff. The plaintiff has to be someone that the jury can sympathize and empathize with to give them that kind of money, you know. And lawyers understand that people, defense attorneys understand that people that are barely eking out a fucking existence at a barely or slightly above minimum wage job are gonna feel some kind of way about coming in and just giving somebody money for every little unfortunate circumstance when in their everyday lives they're going through some real shit and nobody's giving them a dime. So they know that when they come in, if they have to defend a lawsuit, they're playing on that emotion. They're playing on that tendency, because what they're going to paint you is you just a bitch here that want a free lunch for nothing. You know, and that's, most people are going to assume that anyway. Why are you here asking for $10 million and you were only working for 3 years? Mm-hmm. You know, what kind of money did you generate for him when you're asking for $10 million? Why should we give you $10 million? How have you been so aggrieved that you deserve a $10 million punitive damage award? There's nothing wrong with this woman physically. There's nothing wrong with this woman mentally. She's talking about she didn't get what she thinks she's owed because he put the money in other places in his businesses. That's what she's saying. He defrauded me, her terms. He defrauded me, or he injured me by not giving me what I think I deserve. Mm-hmm. I think Boyce is too much of a soft touch to starve this bitch. He's not an R. Kelly. Right. If anything, he gave her too much. Okay. His problem was he gave her too much. He probably should have had her peeing in the corner somewhere. Jesus Christ. You understand? Okay. So his problem was he gave her too much, and now she wants more. There's nothing wrong with this girl. This girl isn't suffering any type of mental distress. This is a girl that wants to be vindictive and get even because she wants more.
Let's go.
You have all these businesses and they're all defunct. Hold up. Correction. Like I said, a lot going on. It just came back to me that there's an update regarding the what I called defunct businesses of voice walk-ins. When I posted a video on this issue a week or so ago, I stated there was only one so-called business that was still operational and had apparently paid its, regulatory fees, and that is Boyce Watkins Enterprises. That is active. You see it here on the screen. Then you have Your Black World. This is the YouTube channel from which Boyce Watkins sends all these valuable videos and begs you all to give all kinds of money to this bogus school that he lies and says he'll give degrees. Your Black World, defunct, non-operational. You see it on the screen. Then you have the Black Wealth Boot Camp. That's another entity of Boyce Watkins that is non-existent, defunct.
Hold on.
Because
Stop
it didn't
here.
pay his regulatory.
I'm sorry. Here's the problem here. Boyce Watkins has never held these. He had these institutions, and also what this says is involuntary dissolution, which means he dissolved them on his own. Okay. Excuse me, involuntary. It means they were dissolved by some means. I don't know why. Involuntary means someone else did it. Voluntary would mean he did it. But anyway, Boyce Watkins isn't collecting money under any of these businesses. Not that I'm aware of. He isn't collecting money under any of these businesses. And number two, Maria Lloyd sued under these businesses.
Okay.
These are the entities that she named in her federal lawsuit.
Okay.
Which is more of an indication that this thing is not going to go very well. Because if you look at, it says the agent change date. If you look at the Secretary of State document that says agent of change date, it says that on August the 11th, 2017, this company was dissolved. This woman filed this suit a year later with a company that no longer exists. Do you know how retarded that is? She's suing a company that isn't there.
Oh, okay.
It's gone. She's suing a company that doesn't exist and hadn't existed at the time she filed the lawsuit.
That makes sense.
She's suing a company that doesn't even exist. That tells me that there are serious problems with this woman's lawsuit.
Okay.
It also tells me that this is not really about money. This is about, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. This is about money, but the impetus of this lawsuit is about dick and pussy politics. I want more. I was fucking you, so I want more. You understand?
Okay.
It says, the status says involuntary dissolution, which means it's dissolved. She was right about that. A broken clock is right at least twice a day. It happened on October 11, 2017. She sued him, or he got served with the notice in September 2018. So this woman named all of those entities, and all of them are already gone.
Okay.
You see? So most of these people are going to have to be dismissed anyway. The Black Wealth Boot Camp is going to get dismissed because it doesn't even exist. Now, arguably, what she may say is that I contracted with him under Black Wealth Boot Camp, which is that's an assertion she could make. At the time when I was with him, this entity was functional, but the question becomes, okay, how do you collect against a dissolved corporation?
What I want to know is, maybe this is like a chess move by Dr. Boyce Watkins. Maybe he's seen that old girl was set to sue him, so he went ahead and just somehow just wiped his shit clean, where he don't have any of these businesses where she can't come and collect on it. You know what I mean? Now, how it would be involuntary, I don't know, because he hasn't been paid. He didn't pay a certain amount of fees.
Yeah, because you have to pay every year. You have to pay a certain fee to the Secretary of State in order for it to be recognized. If you don't pay that fee, they shut you down. So maybe that's what happened. And that's what she's alleging here, in fairness. But I think, I agree with you. I think what it was, he started to see, it's just like you, you start to see when these hoes become too ungrateful. I'm sorry. You start to see when these females become too ungrateful.
Right.
They start wanting more and more, and then what do? Well, sooner or later, I'm going to have to cut this broad off.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? She getting a little too ungrateful.
Right.
Her hand is out too excessively. She's starting to think she deserves more than what she's actively worth. And because I'm vulnerable now, I need to start cutting ties with this broad. I need to stop the bleeding. I need to cut ties with this broad before I am in serious danger. And I think that's actually what happened. He started to see what I personally believe. I believe that when he started trying to get in her drawers, she started being a little bit more apprehensive. She started being a little bit more hesitant to give him his share of booty. She started giving him more mouth than she gave him booty. And he started to see, oh my God, what have I done? You see what I'm saying? Now, he realized how vulnerable he was financially to her. And I think he made a move to protect himself financially from just this type of action. I agree. I think that's actually what happened. I think that's what he did. He started to see, uh-oh, she on some new shit now. The honeymoon period in this relationship is over. This woman feels that she's entitled. You know, she has this sense of entitlement to where she wants more than what she deserves. And she thinks that because she's sleeping with me, that she just deserved the world. And so, you know, and I think he felt maybe a little bit guilty because he coaxed this girl away from her job in Mobile County, Alabama, which is where she was living. I think it was in the area of maybe Baldwin, Foley, or someplace in Mobile County. He coaxed her away from her job that was probably very secure, and it was on the basis of this relationship. The relationship isn't working, and he wanted to get rid of this girl now, and now he's trying to find a way to get rid of her safely and quietly. He doesn't know how to do it, but he did what he was supposed to do, protect his money. He knew that this was a threat. Boyce Watkins is not stupid. He may be a simp, but I don't think he's stupid. He said, it's time for me to protect. You know, let me protect my wallet. You know, let me protect my sack, because that's the first. He knows what the deal is. That's the first thing they're gonna come for when they can't get, when they can't get their way. They're gonna come for your paper. And I think this is actually what he did. I think he allowed this to expire on purpose.
Shit, you know, because she mentioned these businesses in the lawsuit, right?
Every one of these businesses.
It seemed that she had no knowledge that he had a dissolution.
Yeah, he was one step ahead of her.
Right.
Is what it was. It looks like from here he outslicked her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So what he did was he just didn't tell her. He just went ahead and dissolved businesses. Now, in fairness to her, there may be a little bit of a liability there, because you can't have this woman working for a company that you've dissolved. Now, arguably, she may have a case there. You can't be paying her or having her work on a company, and that may be his Waterloo. That may be the albatross that drags him underwater here.
No, but she stopped working for him
when?
Years ago, though, right? Like a year ago or something.
Something like that. A year.
So
probably around the time of this dissolution. I think around that time that this was dissolved, but I'm not sure of the date there. But my point here is that if there is a potential liability on Mr. Watkins' behalf, it would be here with respect to her. If he's having her work for businesses that don't exist, now that's problematic. But if that is not the case, then she really looks kind of funny right now.
Okay.
She really looks kind of out there right now, suing companies that were already dissolved by the state. You know, it looks like you're just grasping at straws, trying to find, you know, that you're trying to find that sack. You sack chasing. You're trying to find the company, you know, where the sack is. You know, the old 3-card Molly game.
Right.
She's trying to find under which cup the money is hiding. You know. And it also shows that maybe her attorneys didn't do their due diligence, because if her attorneys did their due diligence, this should have been listed in the complaint. Because if anything is an indication of misrepresentation, it's this.
Okay.
They should have listed this in the. They should have listed that these business entities were involuntarily dissolved in the because that evidences misrepresentation. But they didn't do that. That's why That's why to me this has the appeal of dick and pussy politics and somebody trying to get cashed out, somebody sack chasing because they don't feel that they got their share of the loot.
Let's go.
Fees. Then you have Watkins Media Group, defunct, did not pay its regulatory fees, non-operational. Now here's the change, people, the recent change since.
And also to be fair, that this was not possibly a master move on Boyce's behalf. This was dissolved in 2017.
March 10th.
March 10th. So more than, I don't know, unless he's seen her tripping way back then to try and stop a lawsuit way back then. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So, but yeah, that was dissolved in March 2017. So that may fly in the face of him being a mastermind and trying to stop her off at the pass.
Or he may have just been making so much money in other places that he just let it lapse.
Right.
That could be it too.
Okay, let's go.
The lawsuits were filed. Boyce Watkins started another, quote, business. Let's see how long this is going to stay up. And it's called the Nubian Network. Let me see if I got that correct.
Okay.
Fly.
Okay, this is the the Fly Nubian Queens, right?
Right.
This is Michi X and Vicky Dillard and the rest of them.
Right.
Well, December 6th, that would jive around the time that they began to pop up on social media, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's nothing fraudulent about that. Just because he opened a platform, you know, for them to get paid, I mean that means nothing. So,
Don't know what that's got to do with anything.
With anything, no.
Let's go.
Nubian Media on December the 6th, 2018. I smell exploitation. How long?
See that's what that's about. See that's what that's about. And now this crazy ass broad, I think she's not exploitation. I think what she's trying to say is he's using this to get pussy, and I agree with her. I actually do think that this is his way to hit on broads, but I think now he has this other woman and so forth and so on. But I actually think that he is opening this up as a vehicle for women. But then my question, you know, play devil's advocate, why aren't you opening up any opportunities for niggas?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This it's clear what you're doing here.
Right.
You are clearly pandering to these women.
Okay.
You are clearly sitting here pandering to these females for what purpose? Oh, I just think black women are strong and I just think they're ambitious and I just think they're more driven. Bullshit. That is 100% horseshit. And that is from my subjective prejudice.
Okay.
From my life experience. But the fact that he opened this, it does indicate that he's trying to draw women to his platform. But that sexual exploitation, no. At this point, everybody know what it is. Just like with R. Kelly, everybody knew what it was.
Right.
So if you choose to go back and let him shove his pipe in your mouth, I'm sorry, that's sex. I don't want to get you hot and bothered.
Nasty and disgusting.
Yeah, nasty and disgusting. If he's drawing these women back to his private lair for the purposes of sleeping with them, that's what guys with money usually do. They usually try to tempt women with their success and with them. But we all know what the game is. Everybody knows what that's about, and women know what that's about. So if they go along, they're not victims; they're volunteers. So, you know,
let's go.
What the hell is he up here talking about? He's going to sue somebody and he's got all this multi-million dollars in monopoly money. Yes, you got multi-million dollars. I believe you have Milton Bradley stacked up in your house, the monopoly boxes, and that is what you're using to pay people. And then you're threatening them. If they go any further with it, you're going to come on the internet and talk about their personal business. That is so freaking pathetic. I am so glad that Maria Lloyd and Mika Brown ignored Boyce Watkins and filed a lawsuit. Again, prove that you can respond to a lawsuit when you've been sued before you start thinking about suing Paris Milan for what? That would indeed be frivolous. Now, why the hell Boyce Watkins is calling it frivolous? Why is it taking 4 months to respond to a frivolous lawsuit? It was frivolous. You would have already gotten the judge to dismiss it.
Here's why.
If it was...
Here's why.
Here's why.
Because Boyce Watkins is a simp.
Yeah.
Here's why.
Yeah.
And also because Boyce Watkins doesn't want this going to court. He doesn't want all of the dirt of their relationship being aired to the public.
Right.
That's why. Boyce Watkins is allowing this girl to be out of pocket because he's afraid of what may be exposed as a result of this lawsuit. And he doesn't want the proverbial black people tearing each other down, but it's gone past that now. There's nothing he can do about that because this lawsuit is not going to go away without a substantial amount of money being given to Maria Lord. Unless he's able to file a motion for summary judgment, which is a pre-trial motion. File a motion for summary judgment and get it kicked, which is what they usually do when they file an answer. But in some instances, it's what they usually do, but it's not what they always do, Miss Moore. Sometimes what they do is, if you know anything about a trial schedule or the court docket or the docket calendar, the court sets a period for filings to be for pleadings to be filed with the court. They set a specific time for pleadings to be filed, and they also have at least a 90 to 100 day period for discovery. That's the investigatory period. That's where your interrogatories come from. That's where your depositions come from. That's where your request for admissions and document production comes. Speaking of which, I have to draw one of those up. But anyway, that discovery period is usually 3 to 4 months. And then what will happen is the judge sets something called a dispositive motion cutoff. Meaning, dispositive motion means the motions to dismiss the lawsuit. That's the cutoff date. He sets a date. You have to have your motion for summary disposition, or let me make it plain, the motion to dismiss the case. You have to have that motion filed by this date. That's what dispositive motion cutoff means. Dispositive motion means a motion to dismiss for all intents and purposes. So that's all a part of the scheduling time or the time that's set aside for that particular case. So what some lawyers will do, they will wait until after discovery. Some of them will come straight out the bat and get it dismissed, meaning there's an issue that is so basic and fundamental to law that this shouldn't go any further and they don't want to waste any time. Other times what will happen is lawyers will wait until after the period of discovery ends. And then after discovery is over, then they file a motion for summary judgment or summary disposition to have your case kicked. So sometimes they do it with the answer. Sometimes they do it after discovery has closed, but before the cutoff date to have the motion filed. You understand where I'm coming from? You see?
Check this out, man. This is a pop my collar moment right here. Look, check this out. Where else are you gonna go on YouTube and get stellar breakdowns like that on some legal shit, man? Okay? Where else? Am I more? I'm trying to tell, man, these idiot ass some bitches in my comment section got the nerve to be trying to challenge what's going on this channel, man. You know, this is a pop my collar moment. Some nigga shit right about now. I had to stop and just admire the work. God damn, Tony, man. Beautiful breakdown. Beautiful analysis of the situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, the nerve of these motherfuckers get on here trying to test this wisdom, man. Damn. Can I proceed?
You can proceed.
Let's proceed.
So damn frivolous. The freaking lawsuit is not even dismissed because the full hasn't been considered. I'll say that, which is a legitimate situation in any lawsuit. The judge is going to look at the initial filing by the plaintiff, then look at the defendant's response, and then the natural course is to determine whether or not you get to go to the next step. The judge hasn't even been able to do that because Boyce Watkins is taking 4+ months to file a response to a lawsuit that he's getting on the internet and telling everybody is frivolous.
The judge doesn't do that.
Have you ever?
So what?
The judge doesn't do that.
Doesn't do what?
The judge doesn't look at the allegations and determines whether or not to let it go. What happens is the person files the complaint. You respond to the allegations listed in the complaint, and you assert something called affirmative defenses. Defenses which, if true, totally knock out the person's complaint. But the judge doesn't do that. That's either within the province of the jury, or that's something that one of the attorneys raised on a motion to dismiss, a motion for summary judgment, a motion for summary disposition. It's the attorney that says, hey, judge, look, she doesn't have a case. She doesn't have a case because, one, she waited too long to file. Two, she doesn't have the statute of limitations. Or two, she doesn't have a case because the business judgment rule says he's allowed to do this if it is within the interest of protecting, maintaining, and growing his business. So she doesn't have a case here because this falls under the business judgment exception. Her case should be dismissed. Judge, her case should be dismissed because the entities here don't even exist anymore. So she isn't even suing anyone. And she hasn't even pointed out in her complaint what will happen, or she hasn't even pointed out in her complaint how these entities wronged her after she left, if she left, after these things were disclosed, or if she knew about, after these corporations were dissolved, or if she knew they were dissolved and then sued, because ordinarily you cannot collect against an institution that does not exist. So these are a bunch of different ways for him to say, well, look, this case needs to be thrown out. Or the judge can say, well, wait a minute, when were these entities did she contract with Black Wealth Boot Camp? Did she contract with Your Black World? Did she contract with Boyce Watkins Enterprises? Did she contract with Watkins Media Group? Because if she did contract at that time, she would be within her right. But then the question becomes can they still be maintained inside of the lawsuit even though they've been dissolved? And when did he dissolve these entities? Well, he dissolved these entities a year before you bought the action. So clearly he didn't do this fraudulently to keep from paying you, not in the eyes of the law, because these entities were dissolved before you even filed this claim in a court of law. So now the question becomes who owes Miss Lloyd what? And why do they owe her that? That's what this case is about. Who owes her what, and why do they owe her? So a judge doesn't take a look at complaints and decide who's who or what's what. He takes a look at that shit. He set that scheduling order and said, by this date, you got to do this, 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 and this. By this date, you got to do this, 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 and this. And then what happens is it's the litigants. It's the counsel for the litigants in the matter that determine, what's going to happen. They file the motions. They request the hearings from the judge. A motion or a hearing, that's how attorneys talk to the judge. That's all it is. A motion is saying, well, judge, we need to talk, in essence, breaking it down. A motion is saying, well, judge, we both need to be heard on this issue. We need to come holler at you because there's a problem here. We need something determined. We need to determine whether this is the right party to the suit. We need to determine whether these people need to even be in the suit. We need to determine an issue of, let's say, a factual issue of the complaint. We need some type of determination in this lawsuit that will let us know how to either prosecute it or defend it. You understand? Motions are how you get into the court to talk to the attorney. So that the judge don't do shit but sit on his ass. And at the trial, when he's at the trial, he'll give a ruling on evidence, and he'll ultimately make a decision. And that doesn't even come to him. The decision, the final decision, comes from that jury. He only instructs the jury as to how they must make that decision.
Let me ask you this, man. Listening to Miss Svengali right here, give me, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what do you think her knowledge base of legal proceedings is on a scale of 1 to 10?
3.
Man. Ooh, shit.
3.
Damn.
3.
Shit. So, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best.
3.
And 1 being the worst.
3.
You're saying she's a 3.
3.
All right, man. I was just wondering, man. Okay. So, y'all heard it here. She's a 3. You hear that, M.I. Moore? Yeah. 3. So, let's go.
Ever heard anything so ridiculous? If a lawsuit was frivolous, you can represent yourself and get it kicked out of court.
That's another stupid
and a lot of people
Stop.
Stop.
Okay.
you can only represent yourself in a action if you are being sued as the individual.
Okay.
So and Boyce Watkins here is being sued as an individual. She's suing him as an individual and under the auspices of these other companies. So he could defend himself where he is named as an individual litigant. He's not doing that, but he is within his right to do so. But if you're being sued, and this woman is not looking for money from him, she's looking for money from his companies. You just name him because that's what you do, because you name all defendants. All defendants are named in a lawsuit. So first of all, because these are corporations, there is a court rule, an administrative court rule, that prevents you from representing yourself if you're being sued as a corporation. I said that before, I'm going to say it again. There is an administrative court rule that prevents you from representing yourself if you are a corporation. You must have a lawyer. The only time that you can represent yourself is if you are being sued as an individual. Then you can represent yourself. But if you are appearing on behalf or as an officer or principal of a corporation, you have to have an attorney.
So back up, let's get some clarification here. So is he allowed to defend himself in this instance?
Where in this instance where he is being sued, yes. It would not be wise of him to do so.
Okay.
But that's why he went and got a lawyer. So he's not, yes he can, but that's not what he's doing.
Okay.
He has a lawyer. Initially he had Michael T. Sterling, now he has Roderick Wimberly.
So Ms. Svengali in this instance is correct.
Miss Svengali is correct in a manner of speaking. In this instance, for all intents and purposes, no, because although he's being sued as an individual, he's being sued. See all those companies up there? Yeah. He got to have an attorney.
Okay.
He has to have an attorney. So in a manner of speaking, one could say she would be correct normally. In this instance, no, she is not. Because look at what's up there. Defendants, Boyce Watkins Enterprise, LLC. Great Black Speakers, LLC. Lawrence Watkins, that's his brother, and he can't represent his brother. Boyce Watkins as an individual, okay? Yes, in that instance, Watkins Media Group, LLC. He cannot be present without an attorney here. He can't be present without an attorney here.
Okay.
It's impossible.
So she's wrong in this instance.
She's wrong in this instance.
To have an attorney.
Yes, here he has to because of the presence of all these other defendants, corporate defendants.
Okay. All right, that's all I want to know, man. That's all. So proceed?
Yeah.
All right.
Listening have done that. They don't need an attorney. It's up to you if you want to get an attorney or not. But if it's so frivolous, on what grounds is it frivolous? These are just scare tactics. Boyce Watkins is so scared that he's asking the judge for 2 extensions. 2 extensions.
Now look at that. Stop. Now see her own evidence. What she put up here on this, that debunks her whole entire argument. She got up here a motion to substitute counsel.
Right.
He's getting a motion for substitute. He's getting this additional time because he's changing attorneys.
Okay.
It's right here, what she has right here on the goddamn screen. And the judge explains why. He says it here.
Now, what's her gripe here? Because she's so rambling all over the place. I kind of zoned out. She was like, what's her gripe with him about? What is it?
He's taking so long to file, and he's getting the judge to grant him an extension, in essence, because he's trying to represent himself. He hasn't filed it. It's more the same shit. It's mumbo jumbo because it's not frivolous because he's taking too long to file. That's what she's saying.
Okay.
It's not frivolous because he's taking too long to file. No, the shit could still be frivolous. He's just changing attorneys.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and it's right there in black
and
white.
It's right here in black and white.
And she's like ignoring the shit like she don't see it.
Yes.
Proceed?
Yeah.
All right.
And that's not even the worst of it, people. Let's talk about Boyce Watkins' new lawyer. He supposedly has this attorney with all these years of experience. And did you see it? in the previous video, which is why I didn't do commentary in the previous video, because I wanted people to take time to read the documents. But the lawyer, the new attorney that Boyce Watkins got, has a history of disciplinary issues. Now, I think it's a setup. I think Boyce deliberately selected this lawyer so he can have another excuse to get a third extension. And let me explain something.
That is absolutely
batshit crazy. Just because a lawyer is disciplined.
Excuse me?
That's absolutely batshit crazy.
What is?
What she said. He set this up so he can have time. That is batshit insane.
He's setting up his excuse about, in the event that shit don't go his way in court, he can, what are you saying?
Well, that's what she's saying. He set this up so that he could get an extension. That's her argument.
Oh, okay.
She's batshit insane.
Okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Or any professional doesn't mean they deserve to lose their license. There's different levels of discipline. Duh. And it doesn't mean because a lawyer was disciplined, he or she is not a good lawyer.
Duh.
Things happen. What you look for, what people should be looking for, is a pattern of repeat behaviors. That's what you should look for. And when I went and I looked, because I wasn't going to take, this is what his lawyer says happened with this complaint that was filed, right? That it was like a minor dispute, and he didn't pay, even if he didn't pay within 30 days, they would discipline him. It sounded very self-serving. So,
stop.
I wouldn't look up.
Stop. Clear that screen, because I want to be able to read this. Here's what the motherfucker said. I had a billing dispute with a former client who requested for all of the retainer after I had performed several hours of work. In other words, she wants the money back after he's worked. He said, though I had earned the fee, I later refunded the entire amount to the client.
Okay.
How the fuck is that self-serving?
Anti-Afro Svengalis.
He basically gave this lady a refund. He basically worked for her for free just to get her out his goddamn face.
Right.
That's what he's saying. What he's saying here is this motherfucker is batshit crazy. You notice a pattern here? You notice that pattern? This client is batshit crazy. And even though I worked for her and I earned that money, I gave it back to her so she get the fuck out my face.
Shit. Proceed.
Well, hold on. Let me finish here. It says, however, because there's a second rebuttal that I got that I have coming up for her after this. However, Illinois ethics rules can reprimand an attorney for not promptly, even within 30 days, returning the funds, and therefore I was sanctioned. This is the lowest form of discipline and did not require any monitoring or actions by the commission. Okay. And they're absolutely right about that. They're absolutely right about that. Right. A sanction in the legal world is the equivalent
of a parking ticket.
Right. You understand? In other words, the shit is so petty, they just did something because in law, one thing is very important in law. They call it the appearance of impropriety. You can't even look like you're doing anything wrong. So they sanction you just because it looks like you did something wrong. Doesn't mean you did anything, just that you look like you did something wrong. Okay? And that's going to play out as we go forward in this video. Proceed.
Myself? What the heck was happening? And guess what I found? I found even more disciplinary issues with this lawyer. This is the reason why I'm saying Boyce is trying to set up a situation where he can get another extension. Because if you go to the link that I provide on the bottom and you type in this lawyer's name, it pulls up this screen that you see here. And then you would hit rules and decisions. And then from there, it would bring up the other issues. He has 3 complaints filed against him.
Now stop.
And guess what they're for?
Stop.
Okay. Stop. Break it down.
I got to stand up on this. Now.
All right.
She got this screen here. It says disciplinary reports and decision searches.
Right.
When did she do this? What's today's date? Today's the 13th, right?
Yeah.
She did this before This bitch is up at 6 a.m. in the morning, Saturday morning, doing this so-called research. She just got this yesterday. That's what time she did this.
All right.
This is his attorney number here. This 622-7234. That's his attorney number. That's his license number.
All right.
Okay. So the first entry there is what? November 14, 2016. Somebody filed a complaint on him. What does that disposition say?
Not applicable.
You know what not applicable means, Doc? They didn't even investigate it.
Okay.
It's so petty, they didn't even investigate it.
All right.
They didn't even bother to entertain it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now the second one, this is the one where he said he was reprimanded.
Okay.
Right? It's case number 10 PR0127, filed on May 23rd, 2012. So what is that? It's 2019, 7 years ago.
Where he actually gave the money back to the female, but he just gave it back too late.
Yes, where he was sanctioned.
He was sanctioned.
He was sanctioned. That's the one she's talking about.
Right.
This is the pattern, goddammit. Now, where's the last one?
Not applicable.
It's the same complaint as the other.
2010.
2010, same complaint number. Well, it's not applicable. They threw that shit out the window.
Right.
They didn't even bother to investigate it. So, in his entire period of practice, during his entire period of practice, which goes back to at least 2010, the man got one goddamn complaint, sanctioned one time in 9 years.
It's a pattern, Tony.
That bitch is bonkers. That bitch is a nutcase.
You don't know what you're talking
That
about.
bitch
Tony.
is bonkers. It's in her own shit
But
here.
M.I. Moore says, ha ha, shake my head.
M.I. Moore is a fucking moron.
You don't know what you're talking
M.I.
about.
Moore. M.I. fucking moron. You are a complete fucking moron. This information that this woman is putting on the case actually disproves and debunks damn near 95% of her allegations.
This shit crazy, man. I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, record, pattern. Where you see that at? Oh shit, man. Yeah, man. She's man, she done fell off the deep end, man. She just stretching. I don't understand it, man. I don't know. Want to keep going?
It literally says 3 matches found, and 2 of the 3 matches were just horse shit outright.
Right.
And the other one, he got the equivalent of a parking ticket for. Go ahead, man.
Let's go.
For messing with people's money, for not paying, for not doing the work on behalf of the client.
That ain't what they said.
I say it's...
That ain't what they said.
Man, Jesus Christ, man. You know what, man? I'm really tripping on just how fraudulent this goddamn video is, bro. She is just telling outright lies and just, goddamn, man. Shit. Maybe I need to go through and look at some of them Umar Johnson videos again. Shit. Even though I know that, you know, Umar's a fucking fraud and shit, but still, man, I wonder how many videos she put out with that nigga with just outright goddamn lies. Cause I never bothered to really investigate a lot of the shit that she was saying about Umar. You know what I mean? But looking at this shit, man, like, Jesus, how many videos do she have out here where she is stretching shit, man, and just outright lying, man? Because what did that actually say? Because she said, what was the accusation about the money?
Said not doing the work and taking people's money or something.
Okay, not doing the work and taking the people's money.
Yeah,
now, but what was the actual infraction?
It didn't say what the actual infraction was. He said it was a billing dispute.
A billing dispute.
That's what Mr. Wimberly said.
Right.
He said it was a billing dispute he had with a client, and they were requesting the turn of the money. And he said that even though he did the job and he billed them properly, and he had earned the money, he went ahead and gave them all of their money back.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't think he gave it back within 30 days, and they basically slapped him on the wrist. And she already said that just because you've been reprimanded or you've been, had a complaint against you, that doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong.
Right.
Duh! That's the point of the whole. That's what Boyce Watkins is saying.
Right. Man, let's go.
To set up. He wants to get another extension so he can delay responding to this lawsuit. Wait a minute.
Now, listen how stupid that is. Wait.
That don't make no sense.
That don't even make no sense.
Right.
The judge has already approved the motion to substitute attorneys and has already approved Mr. Wembley's ability to represent Boyce Watkins. So the judge of all people would never approve an attorney that is subject to disbarment, would never approve an attorney who may or may not have a license, and would certainly never allow for his docket to be frozen by this type of shenanigans.
Right.
He would have defaulted this motherfucker a long time ago. You understand?
Yeah.
So this woman is batshit insane.
So it would appear. It's like, damn, man. I mean, it's right here in black and white, man. She's like saying the opposite of
what
of
the shit she
thumbnail.
put out? Because she don't. That's why I gave her a 3. That's why when you said what's the extent of her on the scale of 1 to 10, she's a 3. The bitch is a 3.
Damn, bro. Yeah, I'm looking straight at the shit, man, and she's saying the exact fucking opposite. Like she don't even see this shit.
And here's the last sentence. I love it. It says what? Now, in spite of the fact that he was served in September, here's what the judge says. If this goes to the issue as to why he hadn't filed an answer, here's what the judge is saying. The court says, defendant shall. You know what that word means? M.I. Moore? Shall. You shall answer or otherwise plead the complaint by what date?
1/18/2019.
So does he have to answer yet? He has to what date?
Shit, to the 18th.
To the 18th.
Yeah.
So he can't be defaulted, can he?
No.
Is he doing anything wrong because he has an answer?
No.
Does it mean he's guilty because he has an answer?
No.
Excuse me, liable? Does it mean he's liable because he has an answer?
No.
All right, man, hit that button.
Shit. Yeah, it sounds like someone else is not knowledgeable of the court proceedings or the legal proceedings while she's talking about Boyce being ignorant. Shit, let's go.
To this frivolous, so what the hell you need 4 months to respond to it?
The judge gave him the
What do
time.
you need 4 months to respond to a frivolous lawsuit? Now, the first lawyer bailed, and it says that after consulting with the lawyer, the client asked the attorney to file a, dismissal of counsel, to be removed as counsel. The lawyer probably saw how deep this situation was and decided, I'm out of here.
That ain't even what the damn thing said.
What do it say?
It spells out the problem with why he had to withdraw.
What was that?
It says that you can't file an appearance on behalf of a law firm. The attorney has to file it as an individual. It's a clerical error.
Okay. Oh, because these two lawyers are from the same...
From the same firm.
Ah. Damn, Tony, you're a genius. Shit. Oh.
You can't file. They can't file to represent him as a firm. They have to file to represent him as an individual. Some states allow you to do it. Some states don't. Okay, but the judge is saying here you have to file the individual attorney. You can file under the auspices of a law firm, but you have to file the shit individually.
So what are you trying to say, that there's some lawyers that specialize in defending individuals versus entities or something? Is that why they have to switch up? Why they have to switch up?
Here's what happened. Whoever this firm was filed initially an appearance on his behalf. They filed it incorrectly,
right?
Which may or may not say something about them. It's a clerical error. They filed incorrectly, and they probably filed incorrectly because this firm has quite a bit of political juice. So for some firms, on some cases, the court will overlook whatever clerical error they make. They may throw that, okay, well, let it go this time. They get a bit lax or lackadaisical. So in this case, Todd Sterling, the firm filed, but Todd Sterling showed up. And they said, well, wait a minute, you don't have an individual appearance in here. You're not here as Todd Sterling, the individual. You're here as a part of a firm. The firm can't represent him. The individual has to represent him. So Sterling withdrew, and this got filed as his individual attorney, which is from the same firm, which is why the judge gave him more time to answer the complaint.
So Sterling, he was automatically disbarred? Not
No,
disbarred,
he wasn't
but
disbarred. He
not
just
disbarred,
withdrew. He just withdrew.
Why couldn't he?
Why couldn't he
stay
file?
on?
I don't know. We don't know. But these guys, one just filed. This guy filed incorrectly. Boyce may have fired him. We never know. Boyce may have fired. He could have fired him.
All right.
And he got this guy, and this guy filed an individual appearance the way it should be done. And that's what the judge is talking about in that section there. You can't. You have to. The attorney has to file as an individual.
Okay.
You can't file as a firm.
All right. All right. Let's go.
$1 million, people. Maria Lloyd claims Boyce ripped her off to the tune of $10 million. And I would not be surprised because the claim is the Your Black, what is it called? Boot Camp was the only program that was making money for Boyce Watkins, and it was Maria's brainchild. So he hijacked that program.
He didn't hijack shit. She ain't have an 18% interest.
Camp was the only program.
She didn't have an 18% interest.
Okay.
And the reason she had 18% interest because he put up most of his goddamn money. Mm-hmm. Included in that was her damn salary.
Let's go.
Program that was making money for Boyce Watkins, and it was Maria's brainchild. So he hijacked that program and superimposed it on the other defunct programs and tried to take credit.
Listen how stupid that is. Listen how stupid that is. How he gonna hijack a program that he owns 72% interest in? He owns 72% of the interest in that company. How the fuck does he hijack it? He's the majority shareholder.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about, Tony. Shake my head.
I'm shaking my head.
Shaking my head.
I'm shaking my head. He owns the company. It may have been her idea. Well, if it's her idea, then she has an issue with respect to patent law. That's intellectual property. She may have an issue there, but she don't even have an issue there because she allowed it to be filed under his name. She didn't patent the idea. Now, arguably, that's where she may be owed $10 million, if anywhere. But it's under his name. And do you know why it's under his name? Because Maria Lloyd didn't have a fucking penny. She didn't have $1. But you know what she did have? She had some pussy. That's what she had. That's all she had. And maybe her ethic to become, her work ethic, I'm not taking it away from, maybe she had a decent work ethic. Her articles were halfway decent. So she had some talent, but I assure you, her selling point was not her brainchild of the Black Wealth Boot Camp.
You are crass, Tony. You're a crass individual. Let's go.
So she feels she's been damaged to the tune of $10 million. A frivolous lawsuit that Boyce Watkins has yet to respond to.
Which he doesn't have to respond to until the 18th.
With or without an attorney, you can't take care of a frivolous lawsuit on your own. You claim to be so smart. He has all what's going on. So he goes about, getting another lawyer right before the first time he was supposed to submit an answer. Then the second excuse is, I just got a new attorney, I need more time. So what's he think he's going to come up with the third time? He's going to say the lawyer did something to me. I can't trust this person anymore. He picked this lawyer with a problematic history specifically for that point. I am on alert. I want to get this response. Boyce Watkins claims he's countersuing. Countersuing on what grounds? Just because you don't like the fact that someone sued you, that's no grounds for countersuing.
Sure it is.
What is Boyce Watkins?
Sure it is. Of course it is. He can countersue. There again, Miss Moore, there is a court rule that allows you to maintain an action against someone for a frivolous lawsuit. It's actually a court rule that allows you to sue, a state and federal court rule that allows you to sue someone for bringing what they call vexatious litigation, frivolous lawsuits. It allows you to collect not only your damages, but your attorney's fees, okay? What I suspect Boyce is going to do, Boyce is going to counterclaim on the breach of contract action. He's going to argue that she was the one that breached the contract by not performing. And how did she not perform? She didn't perform when their relationship fell apart. When she couldn't get what she thought she wanted out of Boyce, she decided she wasn't going to work anymore. She was just going to sue him. And she probably still owed him work. This is just conjecture. She probably still owed him work, and he didn't get the work that she owed him, and he's going to use the counterclaim. This is what you do. You use the counterclaim to offset their claim and damages amount. So in other words, if you're saying that I owe you $75,000 in unpaid wages, I say that you owe me $100,000 in unperformed labor. You breached the contract because you didn't perform. My damage amount is greater than yours. Therefore, at the end of the day, it's all a wash and you get your ass out of here.
Let's go.
To allege when he says there's going to be a countersuit against Maria Richard and Maria Lloyd. It's a bunch of garbage. He's just making up stuff because he wants to make it seem like it's everybody else's fault but his. Now let's get back to Boyce Watkins trashing people when he claims he only owed them $100 or $200. And you know, people kill each other over $15 and $20. So don't listen to this garbage about it was only $100 here or $200 here that I owed somebody.
Yeah, it is.
What difference does it make? It could be $5. If you owe the person the money and you claim to be a successful businessman, what the hell do you have a problem with paying people?
Stop.
And furthermore,
I'm sorry. Because he's extracting the raw materials. He's buying low and selling high. That's what you do when you're in business. Did you pay any of your models $2,000 for their photo shoots?
No.
Did you pay them $1,000 for any of their photo shoots?
Nope.
And you damn sure wouldn't pay them any more than $2,000 for their photo shoots, right?
Nope.
But you know that's what they make and even higher in Hollywood or Las Vegas?
Yep.
But that's not what you paid them, is it?
Nope.
Okay. So, you know you exploited those women.
Of course I did. Goddamn right I did. Shit. I ain't stupid. You trying to make some money.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shit. The name of the game, man, you know, in business is you're supposed to, what's that? Buckwheat moment. Supposed to make more money than you spend, or what is it?
You control your expenses.
Yeah,
you control you reduce your expenditures and maximize your revenue or your profits.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. Shit, God damn, boy, delusion. You ready?
Ready.
Or paying people every 30 days. What kind of incentive is that? To work for someone you get paid every 30 days.
Have you ever worked at an insurance company?
That's just,
they pay you every 30 days.
Horrible business practice. Only do you see that usually in state offices where you have like a monthly paycheck. A lot of state offices do that. But state employers working for the state, they have all kinds of different benefits.
First of all, state employers get paid every 2 weeks, not every month.
Along the way. Like you wouldn't believe, you can have access to additional money and additional services from A to Z. Boyce Watkins isn't offering you anything other than maybe you'll get paid every 30 days, and most people likely don't get paid because Boyce Watkins has stated more than once, oh, your check is 30 days late? Oh, your check.
All right, man, I can't do it no more. Fuck. Yo, man, I gotta go to bed. So, you gonna wrap this shit up, man. She ain't talking about shit. She all over the place with this fuck shit, man. So, once again, yeah, man, check out Big Mike at MaxCity.com. My Patreon will be in the description box and in the comments section. And my PayPal will be in the description box in the comment section. Oh my God, man, I'm falling asleep listening to this bullshit. Yeah, man, fuck, man. I just went through, we had going like 20 minutes into this goddamn video, man, and she ain't really saying nothing, man. She talking about how Boyce Watkins got a potty mouth and he's a, you know, pervert, but I think she's projected, and she ain't really talking about shit. Then she's contradicting herself with all this shit that she's saying, but the thumbnails that she putting up on the video is contradicting 90% of the shit that she talking about, man. So I'm like, I can't do it no more, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? We got about, what 5 more minutes to go, but I can't do it, nigga. So let me know what you want to do, man. You know what I'm saying?
This shit is repetitive. It's not really that deep. to listen to, because this is some bad shit. This is bad shit. This woman is a fucking stalker, is what she is, and I suspect she needs a telegram pole or telephone pole up the booty.
Not the Dr. Boyce.
Yes, I think Boyce is right. I think that's what you need. You need a telephone pole up the booty. I think this woman is sexually repressed, and I think she's lashing out. I think she's one of these women that has been fucked over by these no good niggas that promised her the world and gave her a blade of grass, if that. And I think she just has a hard on for any nigga that's successful that has women around him. Any man that's successful with women around him, she has a problem with. Any man that is charismatic or attracts women, she has a problem with them. And I think a lot of it is due to her own sexual repression. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, she's lashing out and projecting, like you said, her sexual repression onto these men. I think she secretly desires and wants to be with these men. I think this woman is batshit insane. And she has a lot of issues that she has to work out, because there's no logic, no rhyme or reason. Maybe 20% of the shit she's saying makes sense. The rest of it doesn't. I think that this is just part of the dysfunction that YouTube enables. When they give these people, these platforms, it allows them to be mentally unstable in front of an audience, in front of millions of people, and there are a bunch more there are more unstable motherfuckers that's going to crowd their comment section, telling them how profound they are and all that shit. And it's just a platform for their dysfunction. So this is bullshit. It's total bullshit. And maybe 20% of it's right, but then she put up information that contradicts her own position. So therefore, with that being said, somebody need to get this woman a dick and give it to her fast.
Oh my God.
Before she totally implodes. That's what this woman needs. That this woman needs a dick. That's what and everybody knows it. Even Umar Johnson said it, and he's a scam artist, but he knows a sexually repressed bitch when he sees one. This woman needs a dick. That's what she needs. She needs to be plowed hard. She needs to be bent over and backshotted multiple times. That's what's wrong with this woman. If you don't like it, I said it, I fed it. You read it, I fed it. Just remember who said it. Okay, so with that being said, powerandstrategy.com is my blog. Power of Strategies on Patreon, Way of Strategy 44. If you got a problem with anything I said, Way of Strategy 44 at gmail.com. That is Way of Strategy 44 at gmail.com. This woman is fucking bonkers, and we're out of here.
Yeah, buddy. There's no doubt about that. Fat Mac, Almighty Triple XL, about to take his ass to bed. Give me some wings and shit, man. Shout out to M.I. Moore. I don't know what your problem is, bitch, but you heard it here first, man. We went ahead and gave you that work. You know what I'm saying? Gave you that work. Because Tony don't know what the fuck you talking about. And
not at all.
I'm over here shaking my head. That's right. Shake my head. Shake my head. And I'm out. And I'm out. And I'm out.